Friends, have you ever held onto a jar or a can because you're like, you know what, I bet I could make something out of that? Or better still, have you held onto a box because you're like, well, it's a really good box? Friends, you're in the right place. I have 7 projects tonight that we're going to make with all stuff that was meant for the trash. I have stuff that we make with cans, lids, detergent containers, jars. So much fun. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm going to share with you the good, the bad, and not so successful, right? So tonight there was, one of the projects in there wasn't so successful in my opinion. So it was the pitcher one. But it's really cool. It's a really cool idea. And so my question to you is, what would you have done differently? I think I maybe went a little too far with it, but let me know in the comments. Also, you've got to stay to the end because that one is my, I do this every time. I always save the best for last. So the last one is my favorite and I don't want you to miss that. I am doing this in the car because, as you know, I have a lot of children and destabilization can happen at any moment in my house and usually does. I can't get a moment. So guess what? Mom went outside to her car. So yet another upcycle. I'm using my car for yet a different purpose. I am doing video in my car because, mommy needs a minute. And so here we are in the carface. Anyways, thank you again so much for being here. Let's get to those projects. Okay, so we're going to start with some Mod Podge. I also have a tin can. I think this was from tomatoes, and I took both ends off. I have some floral foam, some white chalk paint. I have these beautiful lemon napkins I got from TJ Maxx. Adorable. I love them. And I also have this floral bundle from Michael's. They were on sale, by the way. I have some ribbon and some lace, and I also have these little things from my stash. It was a little egg and a little leaf. We're going to repurpose those. So yet another thing we're going to repurpose. And then I also have a skewer. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my can and I'm going to smush it. Now you want to make sure that the seam is on the back. And if you had a vise, this would be way easier. But I didn't. My son took it. So now we have to use our hands, which it worked. See how I just smushed it and kind of creased it. Then I'm using my Crop-A-Dial to pop a couple holes on either side, and that's going to be where we're going to hang it. If you don't have one of those, you could certainly use glue and glue a hanger on. Then I'm going to paint my tin can, and again, I'm using white chalk paint. Here's my napkin. You want to get that down to 1 ply. These ones from TJ Maxx are usually 3 ply, so just be aware that you're going to have to get a couple plies off. And just, take it apart. Easy peasy. Then I'm going to cut it in half. I add some Mod Podge to the front of my can, and this had a scalloped edge on it, the napkin did, so I wanted to put that at the bottom. You don't have to do that part, but I thought it would look even prettier. So I did that, add my napkin. I am using a sponge to smooth it out. One of you suggested that I use a sponge, and it works like a dream. So thank you, whoever you were that told me to use a sponge. You're a genius. And hey, mention in the comments if you were the one. Because, listen, I apologize that I don't remember who it was. But genius. Anyways, you're just going to continue to add Mod Podge and smooth out your napkin onto the can. Then I just spliced in another piece of napkin on the back. I wasn't worried that it matched perfect because it's on the back. Then I'm going to cover the entirety of the can with more Mod Podge. You could use dishwasher safe or outside Mod Podge if it was going to be, like outside or on your porch, but mine's going to just be in my kitchen. So you'll see here, I'm just putting some Mod Podge on my napkin, tin can, and yes, right. I was going to say the tin can covered napkin, but that would be wrong too. Anyways, words are hard. So here we have that little leaf and I thought that egg looked like a lemon. So I just glued them together. I did sand the back of that leaf, probably didn't need to. Then I added a skewer to the back, and I don't think it was necessary, but I put duct tape on the back to make it more strong. Then I add some jute as a hanger, and then I'm adding some glue and then my floral foam. Now, as you know, I struggle with florals. So I always buy the already pre-bundled florals from Michael's. They're always on sale. I always really get them for at least half off. And I just take them apart and I start adding them to this. And that's what I did. It just makes me able to do florals way more quickly and more effectively. And I spend a whole lot less money doing it. So you'll see here, all I did was just put them all throughout. And then I added our little pick that looks like a lemon. Then I added a little messy bow to another skewer so that I could put that on the side and quit it. Look at how pretty that is. It is so bright and cheery. It just makes me smile. I hope it makes you smile too. Okay, friends, coming up next, we are going to use a laundry container. I'm using an Upcycling container, and we're going to make it pretty and useful. Friends, let's make this Upcycling container look like a basket. All right, so first take the Upcycling container and get the label off by using some non-acetone and wipe it off. Perfect. Then I have a piece of fabric. Now, it's like 24 inches by 12 inches, and then you fold it in half. I'm going to do the top edges so that it's nice and finished. Again, I'm using some adhesive, heat and bond. It's like hem adhesive. That's what it is. So then we're going to fold it in half, and on each side we're going to put some more hem adhesive, and we're going to glue it together basically. We want right sides together. So see how we're doing this on each side. Depending on how thick your fabric is, it's going to take longer for your iron to make it adhesive. All right, so now we have strips of this denim. It's awesome. I think I used 13 strips. They were 10 inches by 1 inch, and 3 strips 24 inches by 1 inches. And then we're going to start gluing them. So these are the 10-inch by 1-inch pieces, right? You're going to glue them all around, see? And when I glue them, I put them so that they're right next to each other. Now we're going to take the 24-inch piece, and you're going to glue a piece down, and now we're going to make a weaving pattern. I am directionally impaired, and I mess it up every time. It takes me a minute, but this is basically how you do it. Just glue a piece down, and then it's over, under the entire way, okay? And just do this the entire part of the container. Again, I mess it up every time. I don't know why. Even looking at it, I'm like, what way does this go? But if you aren't messed up by that, this is going to be a great project for you. If you are, well, then just take your time. It's fine. I did find gluing helped a lot. Now, see how I'm gluing when I have to start a new piece? I glue it on one of the under ones so that we can hide that new piece. And then again, we're going to same song, second verse. Keep going. Again, I did 3 rows on this one. And then I just cut the excess off and then glue down the piece over it, just like we, did before. Perfect. And then you're going to have some excess at the very bottom, which I just cut the excess off. And I know some people are not going to like the bottom. Ooh, it looks a little bit unfinished. I didn't care. I don't look at the bottom, so I just cut the bottom as evenly as possible. And then all I'm going to do is fold them in on itself. So I'll show you that in a second. This is just me. Look, are you kidding me? How pretty. So this is, as I said, I just cut the edges, and now I'm just going to glue, just fold them in. Glue, fold it in, glue it all the way around. Easy peasy. If you have fabric left over, this is such a cool, or if you went to Walmart and got the canvas drop cloth, that would look awesome too. Because it's not that expensive. That's the thing. All right, so here we have our basket, and now we're going to take, and we're not going to turn it inside right. We're going to put it in just like we did, just like we got our hem adhesive ready, right? And then you're going to fold it over. Are you kidding me? Look at how fun is this? Now, I put a bow around mine, and some people are like, oh, let's put decorative things in it. Not me. I put in my glue gun sticks. Coming up next, we are going to give a new life to those old pickle jar lids. And y'all aren't going to judge me for how many pickle jars I got. Anyways, we're going to start with some pickle jar lids. You could use any lids. That's fine. I liked these because of the color green. I also have some lemon napkins I got from TJ Maxx. I'm using some dishwasher safe Mod Podge and some adhesive back cork. So we're going to take our napkin and get it down to 1 ply. There it is. Then I'm going to cut them into quarters. So I have 4 squares. I'm going to take my adhesive back cork, and basically what I'm trying to do, see, I'm trying to get the cork just to the size of that inside part where the label is. And this puck light happened to be the exact same size that I needed. So I am going to trace that. I do as many as I'm making coasters. I'm making 4 coasters. So I did 4 small, and then I traced the lid 4 times as well. Then we're going to cut them out. Ta-da! Now you're going to take the adhesive backer off. This is the bigger one that we traced with the lid, and we're going to stick it on the inside of our lid. Make sure it's really down there. Press it in and make sure it goes under that lip. Ta-da! Love, love, love already. Then I'm going to take the smaller one and we're going to take the backer off of that and stick that to where the label is. Make sure it's really stuck on there, really press it. And then I sanded my lids because, I love that distressed vibe and it looks so cool. Then I'm going to take my napkins and the ones that we traced our lid for, I'm just going to cut it that size. I suppose I could have used my pen and traced it. I didn't. So I'm going to take some dishwasher safe Mod Podge and I'm going to slather it on the inside of this. I also am making sure to get in the nooks and crannies around the edges. And again, I put a lot on because that cork seems to pull in some of it and absorb it. So I just wanted to make sure that it was really on there. So we do that. Then we're going to take our cut out napkin and I'm going to center it. And then I'm just going to use my finger and boop right in the center. Okay. Then we're going to take our dishwasher safe Mod Podge and we're just going to brush from the center out. As we do this, you see how I'm kind of like pressing those edges in under that lip. Now listen, we could leave it just like this. Like, see, I'm just putting it, making sure that that napkin is going on the inside of that edge. Love it, right? And honestly, I'll be honest with you, you probably didn't need to do the next step because it looks pretty finished. But you know me, more is more. So I added a thing of jute to the inside. I don't know that we needed it. Tell me in the comments if you think so. But look at how cute these are. Stop it. Stop, right? Adorable. Yes, they look like lids still, but they're country and fun. And I think they would look really cute if you were having a little company or whatever. But then I had to go one step further and I had gotten this bowl from Dollar Tree. It has lemons all over it. How fun. We have a little container now to hold all of our cute little coasters. What? I know. Matchy is my thing. And I love this. Would make a great summer table. Friends, stay tuned because up next we are going to take one of those great boxes that you've been holding on to because it's such a good box. We're going to make something pretty out of it. Friends, I don't know about you, but Apple products have the best boxes. I save them. So let's do something with them and make something pretty. So we're going to start with some Mod Podge. Here's one of my Apple boxes. Love them. They're so sturdy and they fit together. They're so cool. I also have some beads, some wooden beads. I have some napkins from, TJ Maxx. And I also have this cute little metal, I don't know, it's like a little drawer label. So we're going to start by taking our napkin down to 1 ply. These expensive napkins are usually 3 ply, so just keep that in mind. I also take the labels off the box, and I did put just a small layer of white chalk paint over the pictures and the Apple logo, just because I felt like the napkin would show whatever through the bottom. So then I take my Mod Podge and I put it on the side, and then I'm going to put my Mod Podge, then napkin, and then we're going to do that for each side. No, I did not cut my napkin yet. I know it sounds crazy, but this seemed to work for me. If it wouldn't work for you, then cut yours down. I cut mine down after the fact. So there's that. So then on the bottom of the 3 sides that I put my napkin on, I'm just going to use my Mod Podge and just adhere it to the bottom. Make sure that it's really on there. I used a sponge to make sure mine was on. And then I just kind of scabbed another piece of napkin to the very end. Put Mod Podge on, put my napkin on. Then we're going to make sure it's really on there. I trim off the excess. It really was not complicated. And you would think it would look really choppy, but it doesn't. And then I did the same thing with that side. I just adhered it to the bottom and the sides. I love this napkin. Oh, it's so pretty. So then this is the lid for that box. And all I'm doing is taking a piece of rough cut napkin and I'm just scoring it, like kind of creasing it to see where the inside edges are. And then I cut it out. So this way we can do a little inset. I love that. So then we have some Mod Podge and then we're going to add our little napkin that we had cut out. Look at how cute. And we centered the little bunny there. You know this is for my daughter, right? Because she loves bunnies. So we did that. Then I added some more Mod Podge. And we're just making sure that that goes right to the edge. Look how great. Now we're going to cut out another square And we're going to put some Mod Podge on the bottom. Well, it's really the top of the lid. And we're going to add some more napkin to that. And then we're just going to cut off the excess with our scissors. If you can cut a straight line and cut it perfectly, awesome. I tried. Obviously, I can't cut a straight line. And I'm using a sponge just to make sure that that napkin is really on there. Then I glued on the bottom of the first box we did, I glued those little wood beads. Look, stop, right? Adorable right there. Then I added that little label situation. I got it on Amazon. I don't even know what it's called. But then see that lid? It fits inside the box. And then it also goes inside it like that. My daughter wanted a little handle on it. So I glued just a little tiny bead on the top of that. And look how cute. And then it's like a handle. You can pull that out. I was trying to be really careful because I just wasn't sure about it. Once the glue really set, it was fine. And that bead is small enough that you can you can flip it over and use it as a double tray. What? I know, right? Look at how pretty it is. Yes, my daughter stole it. I don't mind. I made it for her, and it's great. She's the one that wanted that little nub on the top, and it worked like a dream. I need to listen to her more often. Okay, friends, grab a tin can out of your recycling bin because we're going to try to make an adorable picture with one. Okay, friends, go to your recycling bin, grab a big tin can because we're going to try to make a picture with this. So for this project, I'm using Mod Podge. I also have this adorable handle I got on clearance at Hobby Lobby. It was like $1 something. It was amazing. I also have some hardware. This is a nut and bolt, and two of each. And then some adorable napkins. Got them at TJ Maxx. I have my crocodile, and I also have this tin can. I think this was like baked beans or something. It's fairly long. You want to make sure it's cleaned, and you want to make sure that you take I used what's it called? Like a smooth edge can opener for the top. Then I mark where I want to have my handle, and I'm doing it on the seam. Then I took a screw and I kind of nailed it in so that it would make a hole so that I could then use my drill. And I'm just using my drill back and forth. I'm not using it like a drill. I just needed to make a hole. And then on the top, I used my crocodile to make a hole on that one because it was way easier than the drill. Here we have our napkin. We're going to get it down to 1 ply. These fancy napkins are usually 3 plies, so just be mindful of that. Here we have our tin can again, and all I'm doing right now is just squeezing it so that it forces it to do like the mouth of a pitcher, a water pitcher, and then we're going to paint it. Now, I first started painting this with white chalk paint, and I was like, no, I don't think so. So I went over it with sheepskin. It's like an off-white, and I love it. It just added just a little bit more country. Now, I should have known this project was not going to end really well because as I'm putting on the Mod Podge to the can so that we could put our napkin on, my my brush fell apart. Isn't that great? It's okay. I glued it back together, but that was a little hint that things were going to go awry. It's okay, though. We always pivot, but I always like to show you the mistakes or the where, kind of where I went wrong. So I did put a little bit of Mod Podge on my tin can that we have it into a pitcher shape. Then I added my napkin, and we're just going to do little sections. Again, because these napkins sometimes like to choose violence, and so they'll stick all over the place if you don't. For me, if I don't do little sections, it gets crazy pants. So I'm just doing a little Mod Podge, put the napkin on, and I'm using a sponge. Somebody had suggested use a sponge to get the napkin on, and it works like a dream. Just saying. So we just make sure that it's adhered, and then we go all the way around. Now you'll see I have a little section left that the napkin didn't cover. I just scapped one in. I just cut it and put a little piece in, cut off the excess, did the same thing as I did with the others. Then I go over the entirety with some more Mod Podge. I waited for it to dry just a little bit, and then I sanded off the excess napkin. And then this is where things start to go wrong. I added some brown wax, which let's be clear, I love the way this looks. But then here's where it gets bad. I'm like, let's do some black because the handle's black. Let's do some black. Oh, Lordy. Now, do I think it's awful? No, I still love it. But I really feel like sometimes I kick myself because I went a little too far. It's okay. It's fine. I let it dry. I added some dishwasher safe Mod Podge to the outside just in case we wanted to use it. Then I'm going to add my handle, and there it is. And you know what? It's not the end of the world, but tell me in the comments if you agree. I think I went too far. Don't I always? Up next, I had so many requests to show you how to make my glass jar tissue holders. So here we go. Let's make one. So I'm using some Target tissues. They're in a cylinder, some dishwasher safe Mod Podge. This is a jar from pasta sauce. I also have some wall decals, and I also use a dauber. So the first thing I do is I cut down my decals so that it'll fit on the jar. You want to make sure that it fits on the jar smoothly, right? Some of these jars have like little bumps, little ridges, elevation. You just want to make sure that you put your decal where it is on the jar, where it's smooth. I suppose you could do it another way. It's just I find that it bubbles up, and I don't like that. So that's what I'm doing here, is just adhering it to the jar, and holy Toledo, I love it already. I should have also said, make sure your jar is clean and you get all of the glue off. I know that probably seems silly to say, but just as a reminder, do that. And you'll see here, I'm just doing all different sizes of the flowers. You could do this with any wall decal. The one that I showed you initially where everybody was like, please show me, was the one where I used the office decals. It was so much fun. But this one, I had this jar and I had these decals, so I thought I'd show you. So we're just placing these on, put as many or as few on as you'd like. There's that. Ta-da. So you could leave it just like that. You don't even have to go to the next step, but you know, I have to. So I have dishwasher safe Mod Podge and a dauber, and I'm dabbing it all over our jar. I did not do the very bottom, and I did not do the threads, but I did go where, you know, like where the threads start. I did go up to that point. You go over the entire jar. Ta-da. There you go. You want to let it dry. Let it dry for, if you want to put it in the dishwasher, you have to let it set for 28 days. But if you want to hand wash it, it's just until it's dry. Beautiful, right? So here are our tissues. I take them out of the cylinder and I put them in the jar. I know somebody's going to be like, why would you do that? The container is so pretty. Why would you? Because I wanted to. But there it is. Now we could stop right there, right? It is really pretty. It works. Look at how pretty. Or you could put fairy lights in it. Oh, what? I love that. But let me just show you some other options. You could put jute on the top. You could put ribbon on the top. I chose to finish mine off with a little bit of jute. So all I did was add a little bit of hot glue and then wrap my jute. And then you do that for the entirety of the threads of your jar. It's simple, right? You don't have to do this part, but again, I wanted to cover up those threads, so that's what I did. If you used a mason jar, it'd be even easier because then you could just put the ring back on, but whatever. So there's that, right? Okay, so we have our jar. Awesome. I originally showed you the one from Target, but Dollar Tree also has these cylinder tissues. And let me show you the reason why I do it. Now, here we go. I go to take a tissue out. That thing is flopsy mopsy all over the place. It's falling over. When I'm doing crafts and I need a tissue, I don't want it to fall over all over the place. So I take the tissues out of that, put it in the glass jar, and look, boop. It's not good. I mean, come on. And it's super pretty. I love it. But look, it's not going anywhere. That's why I do that. If it doesn't, listen, if you love the tissue jar containers, then to the glory of God, continue using them. But for me, it was just stability. For me, it was stability, and it looks pretty, right? Okay, coming up, last project. But friends, it's my favorite. I love this project. We're going to use some tin cans, and it's going to be perfect for outdoors. All right, so I take 3 cans and I pop a hole. I'm using a Fisker's drill, pop a hole in the top. These are graduated sizes. And then I painted the biggest one, which is from, I think, canned tomatoes. I painted that with a yellowish chalk paint. Then the middle one is a soup can, and I painted that one with a sage chalk paint. And then the last one, I think this can is from like mushrooms or something. It's a tiny little can. And I painted that one with a pinkish chalk paint. Next, we're going to take I think I got this at Joann Fabrics. It's a napkin and we get it down to 1 ply. Now when you get the more expensive napkins, they're usually 3 ply, so just a heads up. All right, then I cut it down, and originally I just cut the top parts off, but I should have done the ends too. I do a layer of Mod Podge on our dried can, and then we're going to add our napkin, and we're just going to, put it on the can. Put it on the can. And you'll see here, see how it was too much. So I just cut those edges off and smooth down our napkin, and voila. Next, I sanded the edges, and we're going to do this with each of the cans, right? It's just going to be a different color. Sand the edges, and then once that's done, I used dishwasher safe Mod Podge, and I cover the can as well as the top. Next, I do the same process with the sage colored can, and I do the sanding and all of the things. Then another layer of Mod Podge on that. Again, dishwasher safe, just in case it's going to be outside. And then the last one I did with that little cute pinky one, same process. I sand the edges, and then look how cute that is. Then I put a layer of dishwasher safe Mod Podge on that. And look at how pretty they look. And look at how different they are, right? All right, so next I put a little bit of masking tape on the end of my jute. You don't have to do the wood beads, but I thought it looked kind of cute. And then I start lacing through the can, and I put a knot at the, probably a couple knots, and then that's going to hold that can to the jute, I guess. Then we're going to take the next can and we're going to lace that one through, and then we're going to put a knot in that one. And you just want to make sure that you put the knot so that the can comes out as far as you want. And see how I'm putting my hands in the can to kind of get it to the length that I want. And there's another one, and again I do a knot on the inside to hold that one where I want that one to be. And then I, at the end, put 3 more beads just because I thought it looked kind of cute. And sadly, I cut it too short. But it's okay. It'll still sound cool in the wind. But there's that. And then you just, again, you want to just make sure that they're the length apart. They're nesting as close as you want them to be. And then I put a knot at the top. And then I'm using this Dollar Tree curtain ring, and I just tied that jute on that, and then I just knotted the jute all the way down. And are you kidding me? Look at, that's it outside, and stop it. How much fun is this? I love it. And I love how the different color paints make each of the napkins look so much different, right?
Well, there you have it. We have 7 amazing DIYs that we made with stuff that was meant for the trash. I'm so excited. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite, and if you're going to try any of these. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the Crazy Pants DIY fun. Thanks again so much for watching, friends, and I hope this inspires you.